every day. You can eat as much as you want, but just eat a little every day and enjoy. Some of us we all overdo it at some time in one way or the other. But those people who already have disease, I want to see them hold on to it, hold the reins of those diseases. We're not losing our feet this year, and we're not losing our visions, and we're not going to allow our kidneys to fail on us, and we're going to not have strokes and have heart attacks like we did last year. Last year was a very, very bad time. This time of the year, people get very ill. The hospital is always overloaded, not booked, because you don't book to go in. The people who book don't get a chance to go in because those are the elective patients and people go for surgery and stuff. But we have a lot of chronic illnesses. We have a lot of friends and family who come and who imbibe and have a great time and do a little bit of hedonism, and they end up being ill, and a lot of people have died. Let's see if we can hold on to that this year and make it even better for the next year, because we have to save what we have, and that is one of the foots.
That is one of it.
Yeah, there are many foots in it that we're looking at.
Yeah.
So that we want to make sure that we're not losing our leg this year, that our diabetics learn to touch, check your feet. Tell your doctor to check your foot. There are things sometimes you have to remind our doctors. A lot of us don't do it as physicians, but if you're a diabetic, your foot is very important because circulation goes. So I want us to keep our real foot, but I also want us to stay on a good foot as far as our general well-being is, not just our our pressure. I want us to look at our spiritual well-being. I want us to look at our physical, check your financial, check your psychological, how you and your friends them going, this kind of stuff, so that life is a little more balanced. There's been a lot of stressors, and we really need to kind of contain all of those things.
I'm happy you mentioned that, a lot of stressors, because there are a lot of things that even we probably don't pay attention to that can bring on stress. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we can. Stress comes when you don't learn how to manage the influences in your environment. So, for example, your children might be making noise. All children make noise. But you just feel, boy, I just come home today, I don't want to hear this, and you start and you corner, and you raise your pressure and you get upset. Or you might have a challenge with financial. All of us do. Some of us more than others, and some in less possible situation to solve it than others. But instead of looking for solutions, we become kind of wrapped up in the issue. I'm glad you say issue, because I'm going to say problem, because sometimes it's not even a problem.
Right.
But we don't understand how to deal with things that come. You go on the beach and you don't want to get wet, right? You're walking on the beach, and a big wave come. What you do?
You run.
You go back, right? You kind of recede.
You run.
So in the same way, we don't take our time back. Sometimes you want to run into the sea, but you need to figure out how high is this wave going to be? Can I transcend whatever power there is? If there's not, I stand and I wait. But those outside impacts, those things that happen, whether it's at work, whether it's at school, whether it's on the street, whether you're a bus driver, regardless of who it is, whether it's marital situations, we get so engrossed that we don't know how to manage, and it becomes stressful. Our bodies respond, our adrenal glands respond, and we get tired and we can't focus and we don't sleep and all the rest of it. So this is a good time, and find ways to do it. I mean, we don't go to the psychologist and the psychiatrist. It's a good place to go in, because some of us wait till we get taken
before we start thinking.
Yes, let me go and figure out and try and get some mental health support, or ask something, find somebody to talk to. Some people turn to other things like drugs and stuff, and there has been situations where people do harm to themselves, and that is one of the other things we want to be able to deal with. This is a good time for us to just stop and look at our lives and decide, I'm going to control my life this year, and where I can't, seek help. And I want to talk to our men, because I've been following the Jamaican news in particular, and there have been men who have been, the murder-suicides and a lot of suicides, and has to do with not being able to handle relationships. It's okay for a girl to leave you, trust me. Boys leave girl every day, right? But we understand the whole societal outlook on all of this, but find a friend to talk to. When you have financial trouble, find somebody to talk to. Just go get help. I always listen. I try to help as much as I can. You'll be surprised at people. You meet people on the street and you start talking to them, and they start to literally regurgitate all the challenges they had, because they just needed somebody to listen to them. Find somebody.
In fact, only today someone was telling me that, that they visited a friend, and, it's like that friend wanted to just release
Disembowel.
some things. Yes. And it's a good thing. Sometimes we need to, to get some things out just to feel at ease. And sometimes, when people come to us to talk, we have to be a friend to them. Sometimes you have to listen. And
sometimes I don't want you to say anything. I just want to tell you what's going on in my life. I just want to see what's going on. And then I want you to keep it to yourself. Because we like too much gossip. That's part of the reason why people are afraid to tell, because they don't want you to tell somebody else. Because, some of us have some secrets. We think that they're big and dark and heavy, and they're probably just really menial things. But sometimes we just want somebody to listen to the things that are bothering us, our feeling of guilt and inadequacy and all the rest of it. Just to listen, and probably direct where you can get some help, or just be the source of help. But sometimes just to listen.
You mentioned earlier, when you allow these stresses to get the better of you, it affects you. Your body starts responding, your adrenal glands start acting up, you don't get to sleep. Let's talk about that.
Well, you don't get to sleep.
The importance of getting adequate sleep.
Yeah, well, not because you're big. What time your mother used to send you bed when you're a child?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. I don't know why these good children up till 10 o'clock in the night, and mommy and daddy fighting at 6 o'clock in the morning together. Now.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock, you kneel down in front of the bed and say your prayers and jump up on the bed.
Before that, you had to go and wash your foot.
No.
You had to wash your foot?
That's if you're in bed in the evening, but because you want to don't barefoot.
You have to go and wash your foot.
You have to wash your foot, because dirty foot will get you up with ruler under your foot in the night.
You had to wash your foot.
Yes.
Then you kneel down, you say...
And you brush your teeth and you go on your bed.
You say your prayers and
go to bed. It's important that we get enough sleep. A lot of us think, people will tell you, I survive on 3 hours sleep, I'm good. No, you're not.
Not good.
Because of stress, your brain needs to go down, relax, rejuvenate itself. They claim that if we don't get enough sleep, our brain starts to shrink. It kind of dry up, right? And you kind of need time to recuperate.
Yes.
So I know you're a big boy, but 7 hours is what you need of good quality sleep. And sometimes for us it's something that for some people it's something we have to learn, because we get up in the night, and I do it. I get up, take up my phone, take up my iPad. Friends who live in different zones and different time zones, you're chatting to them at 2 o'clock in the morning, but that's not good for us, because the nights you sleep well, you actually are more productive in the day. It helps you better to think. It helps you better to function. And we need to get ourselves on a rhythm. You can't go 3 this morning, 2 tomorrow, 8 the next night. That's not how it goes.
It disrupts your body clock.
It disrupts your body, and you kind of get your body confused. And some of us have little children and stuff, and that's also a contributing factor. But we can teach our children to sleep, get into the rhythm of what the house is like. Remember, the baby's a guest, okay? He just reached. So if the house has a rhythm, he's quite likely to fall into that rhythm, right? So, but sleep is very important.
Right.
And good sleep, not necessarily aided sleep, because some of us take a drink, take a tablet. No, you want to be able to relax, take a shower.
Yes, no, that's something. Relaxation. And I'm not talking here necessarily about, sleeping per se, but being able to relax, being able to be at ease, just to maybe sit back or probably just lie on your bed and just relax.
But we used to read book. We hardly do that anymore. We go on the internet. If I take up my iPad to read a book, I'd probably be distracted by whatever else is on the internet.
Those pop-ups.
Yes. And I know you go look at, you feel you have options. You take a book and you sit and you read. And, Grenada is really a nice place to, because we still have a green bush around that creates a sense of peace. And there's always on the beach. I mean, I went to the beach on New Year's Eve. I was working in the area. And they said, I'm going to walk and take a picture. And the sea was placid. I mean, flat. I was like, this is summer sea. What's going on here? Absolutely beautiful. We have it. We have everything. Go for a walk. Sit on your veranda. Go for a little walk. Tell your neighbor, let's go and take a little walk. Walk around your house, say your prayers. Whatever you're going to do, just do things that takes all the rest away from you and put you into a space where it's you and yourself. Like my father-in-law used to say, he and his thoughts.
And
it gives you a better chance. And again, if you can manage to deal with the stress, to get yourself to a point of relaxation, you probably sleep better at night. And sometimes that's what happens. And those of us who have internet, there are apps on the internet that helps us to relax enough so we can fall asleep naturally. And after a while, you get into the habit of doing it. And I hear Source Up Tea works well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, we used to get that to go to bed at night. They say it's good for cooling.
It's good for cooling. But it does calm your nerves. It does. It really does. Yes. So we don't need to take sleeping pills and tablets, and then sometimes we just need to look and see what is it that keeps me from sleeping. So people ask me, say, I can't sleep. I said, what is the first thought on your mind when you get up in the night, when you wake up, whatever time it is that you can't sleep? What is the first thing on your mind? Well, I have the office, and I said, that's what you're worried about. Yeah. So you need to fix the problems in the day.
Forget the office.
No, but if you get up 2 o'clock in the morning and the office still on your mind, something is wrong, because you're not supposed to carry the office home. Why are you carrying the office? And you can't solve it unless you can find something. I keep a notebook by my bed. So if I get up and I have thoughts that are on my mind, I get up, I have a plan to work. I'll get up and I start scribbling, right? And that's one of the ways. And I go back to sleep. I wake up in the morning like, wow, did I write all of this? But we have to find ways that we can break the day life and don't bring it into the night life. When you go to bed, it must be a place of tranquility. And then there are things like mosquito and, stuff. It's hot, and so make sure where you're going to sleep is salubrious. It's have a nice like a breeze. And some people afraid to open their windows. I mean, legitimately so. But you must have cool air, nice, cool, clean bed. Even if you sleep on the floor, I don't care where you sleep, but it must be cool. It must be clean. It must be comfortable for you.
Yes. Doc, I'm listening to you here, and a lot of these things that you saying. Simple stuff, and you thinking they go so far in helping you to relieve stress, to be at ease, to be comfortable, and with all of that, the end result is
better well-being,
healthy living,
well-being. Just being well.
And together with, of course, we're going to talk a bit about that, exercise.
What you eat, what you don't drink.
What you don't drink.
What you don't drink.
Yes. Water, the importance of that.
Water.
How important is water? Sometimes we go a day, we get up in the morning, we probably have a glass of water, and then we head out to work, and we don't drink water again until we probably get home during the evening time.
Well, 90% of your brain is water. So if you don't drink water in the day, it cannot drain out your brain. That's going to make you tired. It's going to make you not able to think properly. Most of our bodies is water. So water is probably the most essential thing that we should be consuming on a daily basis. And then the other sources, apart from just the water that you drink, and I drink water from the pipe, okay? And to each his own, right? Some people want to get bottled water, some people boil their water, some people filter their water. It's to each his own, but just consume. And above all, for our children, we have taken the habit, we have converted our children to sugar-consuming bodies, which has not been very good for them. We're going to go to that. We're going to go to that after. It's important for water for your skin, for your organs to work, for you to flush out all the toxins in your body, for your better sense of well-being, for weight loss, for you name it, right? Water is very important. And like I said, our water still come through the pipe if we want to do it.
I have no problem with that at all. I mean, it feels good.
Yeah.
Get a nice, cool glass of water. Not necessarily cold, but cool.
So I drink water at room temperature. Wherever I am, that's the temperature of the water that I drink. And I find it's easier. Some people, have to have it beastly cool. That's cool. That's okay. But if you get accustomed to drinking it at wherever you are, it comes a little easy. It is a little easier to achieve because it's right there. You don't have to worry about, I need some ice in this water,
So good sleep or adequate sleep.
Adequate sleep.
A lot of water. Let's talk about a very essential thing, exercise.
So we know, I'm going to pick on our young people first, because they are a very important part of our population. They form that big expanse of our population. Our young people spend 60% of the day doing nothing, just sitting. That's what the statistics are showing. It's frightening. Because we need to be active for good, especially good heart health. Good heart health to start with. Makes us put on weight. You and I have jobs that I sit, some the days I've gone to office and I take my lunch to work and I sit and I write, I work all day. And then I look, I've been sitting for 8 hours. That's not good. Okay, guys, don't follow me. That is not good, right? There are jurisdictions where people are encouraged to get up every hour and take a 5-minute walk. You get around their jurisdiction, people work on their feet because you have that tone of muscle in your legs and stuff, right? And it also better for your stress. Helps you to manage stress better. But we have to be active, right? We have to be active enough that our heart works. The World Health Organization is asking us to exercise. Be active. Get up and, like, we don't do anything now. So if you get up and you walk around your house slow for half hour, that's half hour more than you did yesterday.
Right.
And you could increase the speed and the intensity with which you walk. But you're required to do half hour. Some people say 3, some people say 4 for adults. For our children need to be active at least like 60 minutes a day.
Okay.
Right? Like, we used to go up and run up and down when we were little. Our children don't do that anymore because we give them handheld devices. And we tell them, go and sit down. Where our mothers say, go outside and play. Go outside, don't make too much noise inside. But we tend to, and sometimes there's reason for our children's safety and stuff, but we have to encourage our children to get back out there. And physical activity also doesn't mean that you have to buy nice gym equipment and you have to be able to go to the tennis court. You can just walk. You can put on music in your house and dance. You can play ring games outside your house. Like I went to Heinz school. I went to Heinz school. The amount of ring games and whining game we play in that little school. I look at it and figured, where is the space? Did you guys shrink the space? But we played. And we played. We were sent out for 15 minutes in the morning. We had an hour and a half at lunchtime. And when 3 o'clock, we still run on Market Hill, take the bus, and I used to walk the whole mile from the junction to my house. We have to get our children back active, especially our children, because you know why? Diabetes and hypertension, diseases like those chronic diseases, and cancer, which comes with obesity, and obesity is being, when you're obese, you're 35% above your normal expected body weight for your height and stuff, okay? They are appearing earlier. So, whereas when you were a boy, the people who had diabetes and hypertension were 40 and 50, right?
Oh, even older than that.
Oh, right. Guess what? We are seeing 13 and 12 and 14-year-olds having adult-style diabetes. Why? Because we're going to talk about the food after, right? But our children are generally inactive, and then we give them all these sodas, all these sweet things. I remember when we bought a Coke. Remember the tall Coke and the short Coke? Well, the tall Coke shared for the 5 hours. So you get a sip and you smack your lips and you're glad and it tastes nice and you go on your way. And then that happens probably another 2 weeks' time. The only time we had a case of sodas in the house? Christmas time.
That's the only time we get a whole soft drink. I remember that very, very well. You do not get a whole soft drink.
What you used to get, Red Spot?
Yeah, I can't tell you that. People would laugh at me. There's a little joke about me and a Red Spot. Okay, we're not going to talk. So I grew up in that area, okay? But never liked Red Spot. Then we had Holiday. It was sort of funny looking, but
and Stroudies.
Yeah. No, I'm not familiar with that.
Oh my God, what you born yesterday?
Holiday and Red Spot.
Right. And then Fanta, and when Orange Fanta came in. And this is not an advertisement for any of those, but you got one. You got a whole one for yourself.
And only at Christmas time.
And we had a shop, and that's to tell you, I never had a whole soda, even if we had a shop, right? And you sucked on that thing. Like your baby who's weekly breastfeeding, you just sucked on it so that it never finish, right? But no, people give their children a soda almost every day, and then we do a drink so very sweet, and all the rest of it. We consume it, especially the commercially prepared sodas that have high fructose corn syrup, which has a lot of calories and a small amount of the product. We can't afford for our children to be consuming those every day. Some children consume up to 4 sodas a day.
Not good.
Bad. You say not good, I say that's bad. It's bad for us because obesity is going to lead us, like I tell you, to the crown diseases and to cancers and earlier, right? If we have people who are obese, right, way above the expected weight earlier, they will leave. They will leave
eventually
because the fat has a lot of toxins, has a lot of poisons, right, which make your body not function well, which make your insulin can't function well, And those are the challenges we're having. So we're in trouble.
We are definitely. The foods.
Food?
Well, of course.
Fruits or food? What did you say?
No, let's talk about the food.
Okay.
We're gonna get to the fruits, but the foods that we consume.
So the other thing is the salt. Before we move from sugar, right? So the Ministry of Education just made a big proclamation, and that's the way the world is going. Regardless of how it was done, that's where we have to go. We really have to protect our children and put them in an environment where they're not exposed to risks. Okay, that's what we're doing, preventing our children from having risk. I have heard advertisements, I've seen the pop-ups of a lot of kiosks where you can go in and buy a drink. They've happened since that thing. And I've heard an advertisement for a certain thing that I know is a soda that's been advertised as a breakfast, as a drink to serve your family, as a juice at the table. Because they have said that you mustn't give it in school. And I'm going to ask parents to be very aware. It's the same thing that we don't want your children to be drinking at school. And why do we say not at school? Because your kids spend 8 hours there, okay? Your children spend 8 hours at school. Most of the activity happens between 7 o'clock in the morning and 3 o'clock in the evening. I reach to school 4 o'clock. Sometimes children have to wait for their parents till 5 o'clock at school. That's 10 hours, right? So a lot. By the time you get home and supper, do homework and go to bed. So your active time, the time you're going to be involved in any risky activities, happen during the school time.
School hours, yes.
So that's sugar. But remember, you have sugar in cake and all the starchy foods that we eat. So, you know, the pastry and the cookies and the cookies and the cookies that we give our children. And even other snacks in those bags that make I call them the shush bags. Even those, right? A lot of them are highly refined flour and stuff that don't give our children nutrients. They'll curb your hunger, but they don't give you the things you need. They don't give you the vitamins and the iron and the, you need some energy, but you don't need all that energy, right? And then the salt. Well, the move is to go to 5 grams. 5 grams of salt is a teaspoon of salt for the day per person. How much you think you put in? How much? Cook a pot of oil down in your mind.
No, man. When you cook oil on the amount of salt you put in it, because of course the first thing
you put what?
You're gonna put your salt in the pot. When you're making your dumpling, you put in a little bit of salt in the flour. Then of course you have your.
What meat you put in the pot?
Oh yeah. Well, I was gonna get to that last.
No, that's what you get to first because that's in the bottom.
Yeah, but you have your salt meat, you have your pigtail, your pig snout. Some people might put mackerel. They may put salt fish
and smoke herring,
yeah,
and a little bit of ham or whatever they have, right?
And all of
and
that,
corn pork and all of that, and we don't remove the salt. I don't experience because I don't use a lot of salt, and that's just habit for me. So you cook oil down, right? Oil down there at work, and you and I get to the pot almost the same time. I get the bit on top, the bit before you, and you get the next serving after me. And we turn around, and I taste like when I said, and I'm like, oh my God, I put so much salt in the pot. And the person turned at the same time. We're speaking at the same time. And they said to them, oh, I didn't put salt in this pot.
You did not put salt in the pot?
Yeah, they're saying there's no salt in the pot. And I'm saying, I put salt in the pot. You understand? So it's a question of how we're going to habituate ourselves to not consume so much salt, because we are consuming too much salt. Currently, from the studies they've done we do the Americas, which is us in the Caribbean and the people in Central and South America. And currently, average 11 grams. I mean, we're eating twice as much. And we know that salt/sodium, the sodium salt, right? Sodium chloride is the white salt that we buy. And that's what we use. And that has its purpose. Let's remember, we need salt for flavor and we need salt to preserve, okay? That's what salt is used for mostly in foods, all right? But there's just too much of it. You buy a bag of corn kernels. Try and eat what's at the bottom of it. All the dust. It's just too much salt. So our bodies are now accustomed to consuming a lot of salt, and we're not even drinking a lot of water to even eliminate some of it, right? We're really accustomed to consuming too much salt. What happens? We get accustomed, and eventually we start getting high blood pressure. All this salt in our blood vessels harden the blood vessels in the walls. How it's absorbed hardens the walls, and we get hypertension. You cut on your salt, you cut down on the salt, and we know that cutting down on the salt does work, because where a person with hypertension hypertension, stops consuming salt, their blood pressure actually goes down.
Mm-hmm.
It might not go back to the perfect, but it actually changes downwards, towards where you want it. So, salt. Mm-hmm. If we give our children all that salt, they're already having high blood pressure. They're going to have high blood pressure a lot earlier.
So, salt plus the sugars in the sodas and all of that.
And then there's the trans fats. Those fats that don't metabolize in our favor. So people eat margarine. Don't eat margarine, eat butter. Trust me. Okay? The fats that would break down and create and make you have high cholesterol. High cholesterol will also clog your arteries and make you have high blood, make them rigid and make you have high blood pressure and cause you to have strokes and heart attacks because they block the arteries that need to carry blood to very essential parts of your body, like your heart and your brain.
So we have a combination of things that can cause us to be hypertensive.
And no, not just bad for us, it's cause us to be sick. Right.
Doc, let's take a commercial break. Yes, because we're going. We'll be back with you in just a moment, folks. Stay with us.
Pharmacy offers both wholesale and retail pharmaceutical and over-the-counter products. We have the most competitive and affordable prices. We are the agents for Vit Plus multivitamin for healthy everyday lifestyle and Sanatogen powder. Hills and Valley Pharmacy supplies the best quality, name brand clinical products such as Rescue Oil, Bio Oil, Neutrogena, Aveeno, and Clarisil. We offer the most convenient opening hours. Our telephone numbers are 435-6904 or 6903. Remember, at Hills and Valley Pharmacy, your health is our business. We care.
Now open, Hills and Valley Medicare Center, your one-stop for medical supplies, massage therapy, physiotherapy, and an in-house physician. At Hills and Valley, your health is our business.
Make no excuse. Claim those fitness goals with a little help from Quartz. Save big on home fitness equipment when you shop with up to 15% off. Plus, get a chance to win a free spin bike. Shop today and pay nothing until March with Quartz Ready Finance. Make no excuses. Shop and win. Only at Quartz. Bringing value home. Conditions apply.
You're already ill and have no time or energy to walk every which way to access your healthcare needs. So come to Spice Isle Imaging on the Carenage for a one-spot stop for all your health service needs. See our in-house doctor and get your meds from the pharmacy right on location. Digital X-ray, MRI, CT scans, mammography, ultrasound, and laboratory services are also available. So for that moment when life makes demands on you, you can make demands on us. Visit us at Spice Isle Imaging, Carenage, St. George's.
How going on, boy?
Hey, good old things.
Hey, Daisy.
Yeah.
Boy, in line, boy. Your house looking a real good day.
Boy, it's thanks to the hard-working and professional staff at the Housing Authority of Grenada. They handled me real nice. They did my plan, they did the construction, and I didn't even have to worry about a thing. They were there with me every step of the way, supervising the job, asking me about my concerns, giving me feedback as the house took shape. They were there from start to finish, and even put the keys in the palm of my hand. I give them an A++ for customer service.
Oh, it's people from housing bad, boy.
Boy, not bad. Excellent. If you're thinking about constructing your home, why not consult the Housing Authority of Grenada? You could visit them right down in the Sandino complex or give them a call, 440-1015 or 440-1016. Or check out their website, hag473.com. They go handle you. They go jog your blocks, they go draw your plan, they go tote your materials. Hey man, where you going? The Housing Authority of Grenada is your choice for affordable housing and a stress-free construction experience.
105 and 105.9 Classic FM.
Welcome back, folks. And if there are any among you who've only recently joined us, I have Dr. Sonia Nixon with me, and we're trying to get started on a good foot. It's a new year. We've been talking about some of the issues that we've faced in 2019 that we're trying to cut out, or at least as much as possible reduce some of the things that is not good for us. Doc, we can open our telephone line, so folks, you can give us a call. Our telephone number is 435-2041. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask, you can do so now. 435-2041. That's the number you can call to get in onto the program. But Doc, starting on the right foot, one of the problems we've been having in Grenada in recent times, it has just spiked, is the amount of vehicle accidents on our roads. The year started with a fatal one in Calavini. This afternoon, I saw something on social media with an accident in the Soubise area. There were 3 vehicles involved.
3 vehicles, I saw that.
I don't know if anybody got injured, but they've been happening. One of the concerns has to do with persons consuming too much alcohol and getting behind the wheels of the vehicles.
Well, my position on this alcohol thing, I don't think there's any safe amount of alcohol for driving. I'm sorry. Because I don't know how much I, as an individual, will respond to even a small amount of alcohol I may consume and then get into my vehicle. What I do is make my vehicle an instrument of murder or suicide. So this responsible driving things means that I am responsible because I will not go behind my wheel once I have consumed any alcohol. That's my position. Other people think otherwise. People think that they can consume and drive, and sometimes that a car drive them home and they don't know how to reach home. But I will advise people. The truth is we have a lot more vehicles on the road. Yeah, and we have the breathalyzer, which is a big threat. But it's not a big threat, it's a gauge. It tells you that somebody's going to be out there who's going to say, can you please blow into this? And incidentally, because a lot of people think that it's not changing, the pipette, the thing that you blow into, is changed. It's disposed of. So it's like a tube, like a plastic tube that you blow, and when you finish blow, they throw that and they put the next one for somebody else to blow after it. Consuming alcohol does a couple of things. You consume alcohol and you lose your inhibition. You start talking all kind of foolishness, you laugh when you're not supposed to laugh.
As our grandparents would say, you start talking instead of sut.
That's like your sut, right? and you start check your friend, your best friend, girlfriend, and you're like, tomorrow morning you're ashamed. I had an experience with a friend when we lived in Havana, and oh my God, he was drunk and totally disinhibited. The next one he came and begged me not to tell his mother. He was very inappropriate. But we have to, that's another way we have to preserve ourselves. We have a lot more vehicles on the road. We have a lot of young and inexperienced drivers, and the speeding, that's not good. Don't drive fast if you can't drive. There's a picture today on the internet of a load of a very large volume of gravel on Richmond Hill.
Yes, I saw it in the news this evening.
Richmond Hill is a corner. Well, a hill on a corner and a hill, or hill and a corner, however you want to look at it. That's what it is. And it's that red gravel that is unrelenting. And it was a whole lot. And you can come upon that, right? And just keep going. And not all of Richmond Hill has barricade, Okay? So be very careful. You don't know where you're going to meet up on obstruction. People say, oh, I drive this road every day. No, you don't. Because the road changes every day. Who you meet on the road is different. The conditions on the road are different. It might be rainy. It might not be, right? You do not drive the same road every day, even if you go along the same path. It's not the same road.
Every day, the situation or the circumstances
on the road change, and your car situation change too. Okay, so let's not fool ourselves. It's not the same road. Okay, because it's different.
You mentioned the gravel, Doc, and I'm just trying to connect everything with the name of our program, starting on the right foot. So yes, you may encounter gravel on the road as a driver, probably who's consumed some alcohol, and you lose control. But here's another side to it. The people who are carrying, let's say, for example, the gravel, it is important that you do not overload your vehicle.
And you cover it. There are rules that guide that kind of reduce the potential for having spillage of whatever product you're carrying on the back of your truck.
Well, there's also written the tier weight and the gross weight.
What do you weigh that? Where do people weigh the tier?
My point is, it is there. You're not supposed to carry more than you're supposed to. But by ensuring
we've been described as lawless.
Yeah. But by ensuring we do what we're required to do, we are helping to save ourselves in some ways.
Save ourselves. But the other thing is that we also have to be responsible for the other citizen that you come in contact with. And that is one of the things you have to get into a place of responsibility. That's a good foot to have, you know?
Let's go to our telephone now. I think someone is trying to get it. Doctor in call, good evening.
Hi, Godfrey.
Good evening, how are you? Happy New Year.
Yeah. What do you mean, man? And to you and the doc.
Good evening, sir.
What would you say to a man who refuses to drive?
A man who refuses to drive? Well, there's always the boss. Why does he refuse to drive?
Because I think there's as you guys have been saying that. Too much nonsense on the road.
Yes, indeed, caller. And if you're in a situation or you're not in the best form or best shape, you're not. It might be better not to drive. Yeah. Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Okay.
Yeah. Our telephone number 435-2041. If you have a question for Doc, you can do so.
If you have a comment, we good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So
you have to be responsible, not only for you. There's another thing that was implemented recently in relation to traffic, the whole pedestrian crossing thing. So I'm going to ask you, Godfrey, you know how to cross the pedestrian crossing? What do you do when you get to the pedestrian crossing?
When you get, you see, and that's the thing, when I get to the pedestrian crossing, I stop.
The first thing is to take your earphones out of your ears so you can hear me.
I don't walk with. This morning on my way to work, there's a young guy. I'm driving slow.
Luckily for him.
And the vehicles come behind him, and that's another bad habit that people have. They have their construction taking place and they empty they unload all the gravel.
Yeah,
they take half of the road. So this young man, he's walking up and now he has to come around the gravel to get past. So he has to walk out into the road. And the vehicle is right behind him and he doesn't know. He has his earphones.
And also when they cross on the pedestrian. So when you get to the pedestrian crossing, what do you do?
I stop. I make sure that it is clear. And if it is not, I can indicate to the oncoming vehicle that I would like to cross. So when they come to a stop, then I go across.
How does the vehicle... You go across fast, okay? Because some people walk across like they think that is in their bedroom. How... If you were the driver, what would you do? I'm at a pedestrian crossing. You kind of have to look out for me, right? Okay, what do you do when you get to a pedestrian crossing as a driver?
I'll tell you. From the highway code, you're supposed to stop.
Where?
You have the pedestrian crossing. And
you have the zebra crossing.
Yeah, and there are two white lines. Two lines. Yeah, you stop behind that. You do not cross the white line.
Okay.
I read the highway code.
No, but guess what? You read it. There are people who don't know you're supposed to stop. When do you move off?
When that person is clear, because
no, you're driving, I'm crossing. You and I are on the same side, okay? I'm on your side of the road. When do you move?
You must clear the road.
I must
The pedestrian must clear the road.
Get to the other side of the street.
You must clear the road.
That's a point. So I want to tell the pedestrians that a pedestrian crossing is a privilege that's offered to them. It's not their right. I've seen a guy step onto the pedestrian crossing on Kirani James and just walked on.
Yeah, they model crossing.
He started obliquely. So where he entered was not at the pedestrian. When he got onto the pedestrian crossing, he was almost in the middle of the road, but he was in the vicinity. I've seen people just walk across to their earphones. They walk across and they do it on their phones. You can't cross a pedestrian crossing passively. The pedestrian crossing is a relationship that you and the driver is a point where you and the driver establish a relationship, and the driver has to make sure you get to the other side. Because guess what? The other fool driver might not realize, and you have to run back.
Well, look, when I came this afternoon, I spoke about what happened in St. David. The bus, he did not stop behind the light, so he stopped right in front of the
zebra crossing.
The zebra crossing. The conductor gets out, and instead of going onto the zebra crossing to get the children across, about 6 or 7 children, goes behind the bus and start waving down vehicles to stop. And I had to stop and say to myself, but look, there is a pedestrian crossing there. This is the reason, that's the purpose of it.
It's
and the driver sit down there and just looking at me.
It's a safe spot, yes.
And they don't care. They don't care. Let's go back to our telephone line.
Yes.
Doctor and call, good evening. Hello.
Hey, Godfrey, good night.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Godfrey, so long I'm looking to get an answer from you. Godfrey?
Yes?
I'm calling to ask the doctor what really caused a person, in your flesh to be, trembling, and shaking. My leg.
Just your legs?
Yeah.
Have you been to your doctor?
Yes, I got it.
What has the doctor told you?
He didn't tell me anything, he just gave me some medication.
But you need to ask a doctor what it is. You see, that's one of the things. And that's another good foot for us to get off on. When you go to the doctor, you must have a conversation. Tell the doctor, ask him what is going on, him or her, because we have a lot of female doctors. What do you think? Sometimes you need to go do blood tests. You need to do stuff. Do you have a problem with this in your family? Are you just nervous because you're stressed? What is your nutrition state like? So you need to go back and have a conversation with the doctor. Make sure he examines you properly. Send you for tests, because you might need to do that, okay? All right.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you very much
for calling.
Thanks a lot. It is 19 minutes gone past the hour of 9 o'clock. Our telephone number is 435-2041. So you can call with your question or your comment. But back to getting off on a good foot. So there are so many things that we can do, or there are so many things that we supposed to do that we are not doing, that can cause us to be on the wrong foot.
Yeah, and sometimes it's because we feel other people are responsible for us. We're not. Nobody's responsible for you but you.
I agree.
And we're responsible for our children and those older people who can't take care of ourselves. But as normal thinking adults, we are responsible for ourselves. So I must know that I must eat properly. I must exercise. Lord, I need to exercise. But I must know what is my calling for my well-being. I must know that I can't be partying all night and get up and go drive my car. I can't work 3 days straight without getting rest. I must know that if I want to be highly functional, there's certain things I have to eat properly. I must know that I must take care of my hygiene. Bathe every day, take care of my hair.
That's something that we need to have a serious conversation
about. Serious action about. And sometimes, guess what? I don't think people mean to offend with their body odors and stuff. I think they just don't realize that there's simple ways of doing. Like one of the biggest problems that create body odors for us is that we recycle our clothing. So I'll go home and take off my top and say, "Oh, this top ain't dirty."
Yeah,
I just waited GBN for an hour and I hang it back. But I've sweated, I walk, I run in from the rain, I get damp and stuff, and you put it back on all the undershirt or women with their bras and stuff, right? You sweat onto it, you don't smell bad, you put it on. But when you put it on again and your body starts to heat and stuff, the odors come up. Deodorant. You know what's the biggest problems? We use roll-on deodorant. I would ban roll-on deodorant if I had a choice.
Yes.
Because if you have a body odor, the bacteria and stuff on your skin, right? When you roll it over, where does the bacteria go?
Well, it goes on the ball.
Oh, inside.
Yes.
When you bathe and you put it back on your back, all the bacteria on your skin. So sometimes people who have challenges, I say to them, look, get a one of the turn up on a spray one, and no recycling of clothes. Make sure you wash them, and make sure you wash those clothes properly, right? Start this on this is a good foot, right?
No, of course,
that's a good foot. Be responsible. Be responsible. Make sure that you and your
good hygiene,
the people in your community, brush your teeth, go to the dentist for Pete's sake, all of those things, and wash your clothes, rub the arms properly, rub it. If it can't come up, you need to throw it away, right? But you have to wash your clothes properly. those recycled clothing, all that bacteria stays in there and make you have the body odors, right? And some people are more prone to getting high body odor. Use and even people who I tell, use like the screw-up-ons. Every so often you cut off the top or you wash it off with hot water and you melt off that part and you can use it again. But no roll-on if you have a challenge with body odor, please.
No, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's there's so many things. I'm really enjoying this because there's so many little things that we can do to help us get on the right foot. Let's go back to our telephone. Doctor in call, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Is this a doctor in call?
Yes, it is.
Oh, I have a question.
Sure.
Well, first of all, I have a
caller, just one
tell your radio down or ask the people in the back to be quiet.
Yeah, just turn the volume of your radio or your television down a bit. Yeah.
Hold on a minute. I'm far away. Hold on.
There's a TV.
Okay, hello?
Yes.
Is this better?
Actually, do you have other people in the house?
I'm far away. Hold on.
No, but so turn the other way. Face them so you don't get all the sound into your phone.
Hold on.
Now you need listen to me. You need to listen to us.
Hold on. I'm lowering the. Okay.
Yeah, you need to listen to us. Listen to us on your telephone.
Yes, I am. Actually, I was just
this is better.
The volume.
Thank you.
Is this better?
Yes, it is.
Much better.
Okay, so I have one comment. When the doctors talked about crosswalking, the crosswalk, and she said that sometimes people just take the time and think it's their bedroom or something like that. I just want to say that there are some people have some problems. And you may not know. They may have some back problems or leg problems or something like that. And they can't walk fast. So they have to take the time to walk. But you would not know. You as a driver, you would not know that a person actually is going through, very uncomfortable point at that time.
Okay.
So they have to take the time and walk.
Okay.
The other thing I like to ask a question regarding blood clots. I want to know if you know of a natural remedy for blood clots.
No, I don't. I can't tell you off the bat.
Oh, you can't tell me.
No.
Do you know what causes blood clots, first of all?
Well, first of all, there are systems in your body that make sure your clots so that if you get a cut, right?
Okay.
You don't want to bleed forever, right?
Right.
And different people have different genetic makeup, and some people don't clot as well, or some people clot too much because they might have one system that predominates over the other. Because you have to keep that balance, right?
Right.
Because you want the blood in your blood vessels to move freely.
Okay.
And then if you get a cut, it stops, right?
Okay.
You want to form that clot outside and stuff. So is the system supposed to be kept in balance? There are things that will make you develop clots. So like people who have sickle cell disease might be a little more prone to having blood clots, okay? Because those cells tend to clump together, right?
Right.
Women who are on contraceptives, people who have cancers are at greater risk for developing clots. Right. If you're a very active person, let's say you work in a store and you're walking up and down all day, right?
Right.
And then you get sick and you go to hospital and you're in bed for 3 days and you're not accustomed to that, okay? You're the girl who got up in the morning, go for a walk, right? And all of a sudden you're lying in your bed, or you take a flight from London to Grenada, or you go from New York to Dubai, a flight for 17 hours or whatever it is. That change in your behaviors can make you prone to getting clots. Right?
Okay.
So people have to be aware. If you have if you have a family who has had a blood clot, whether it's in their legs or some that go to their lungs and stuff, you have to just be more aware and take. So like if you're going to travel, for example, you start taking aspirins, because aspirins do help, okay?
Right.
You start taking aspirins, like an aspirin a day for like 3 to 5 days before. You take it for the next few days, like 3 to 5 days while you're away, right? And then you're ready to come back, or if you're not coming back, that's okay. But you're vigilant in the interim, so there are reasons.
Okay.
But let me tell you about the crosswalk, and I'm talking about the people. I'm not talking about the people who have challenges, who I know have problems. I'm talking about the teenagers who stand up on the crosswalk.
Okay.
I'm talking about the girls who watch you cross-eye, or who walking across because they're reading their phones.
Okay.
Right? Not paying attention. They step onto the crosswalk and they literally saunter across like nothing is happening. That's what I'm talking about. And what it does is make other drivers be impatient, and the people who really want to cooperate with the pedestrian crossing don't get that fairness given to them.
Okay. Because I know of people that would step on the crosswalk and just take their time and walk.
Yeah, and they just walk like this is my time.
Yeah,
it's really a privilege. Right. It's really a privilege that's offered to us. It's a safe zone for the pedestrian, but he needs to use it responsibly.
Yeah, but what I'm talking about, like I had an experience where I was driving with someone and the person was taking their time walking, across, and the person got angry, really angry, and was like, what do you think this is doing, so whatever. And I had to say to the person, but you don't know why the person is walking that slow. So just have a little patience, So that's what I'm talking about. I know some people, think, okay, I have the rights.
Yes.
And they just walk anyhow, and they're not making even eye contact. They just walk because they know they reach the crosswalk, and they just walk, not making eye contact with the vehicle. And that's an issue. I had that too, and it's really disturbing.
Yeah, and I appreciate you bringing up that point, because sometimes you overlook the fact that people do have genuine need to be walking slow, and that's why they look for the crosswalk so they can walk slowly.
All right.
But I'm talking about those who are very just don't care and don't use it responsibly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All the best.
I just want to say something also.
Yes.
Can someone who has an accident or have blood clot, can that lead to that also?
If you're lying in bed, if you've had an accident and you're immobile, there's always that possibility, especially if you have that propensity to develop blood clots.
Okay, great.
Thank you very much, caller.
Thank you very much for the program.
You're welcome.
Very educational. Have a good night.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
It is 28 minutes gone past the hour of 9 o'clock. Let's go back to our telephone. Doctor in call, good evening.
Good night.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I have a question for the doctor.
Sure.
Doc, can you tell me the best high blood pressure machine to use? Because I had a wrist one, and
what did you have?
The one for the wrist. Right. And the reading used to be real high. And then I have another one where you pump it, and I find this one showing low. So I'm wondering, so I went to the doctor I passed in the medical station just to check it, and I realized that it was a kind of average. But I'm not sure which one to believe in.
Okay,
which one do I trust?
Okay, let me ask you a couple of questions. What was the reading when it was high? Give me numbers. I like numbers, and let's get directed, because
the reading when it was high was something like, I think was 150 something over 90. But when I went to the medical station, the reading was something like 118 over 80.
What did the nurse use?
The nurse used the one that pumps, the normal one they usually use in the... but I have one where I'm working, and when I test it, it's low. So
tell me numbers. I don't like
the numbers. Like where I'm working, when I use the machine, there is about, sometimes it shows 112 over 70 something.
And is one of those electronic ones?
Digital.
Okay, so this is not an ad for the company. But a couple of things I want to tell you. First of all, I want you to get to what is your age group? 50 to 55? Tell me what age group you are.
I'm 60.
Okay, so 60. So your blood pressure, the truth is, once your blood pressure goes over, the top number goes over 120, and the bottom one goes over 80, you're already considered to have elevated blood pressure or high blood pressure, depends if it gets to 90 or 140, okay? So you want to be at 120 over 80 maximum. If you have diabetes, it has to be 110 over 70, okay? So that I want you to remember.
Okay, I'm not diabetic.
Praise the Lord.
Amen.
So hold on. The other thing, the other things is that how your pressure is taken. So you have to sit comfortably. You can't just walk in and say, take my pressure now, okay?
I know that.
And all of the, well, I just want, this is also for the other people who are listening. So you have to go into this, if you're going to take your pressure, wait till you get home, you sit comfortably, your legs have to be flat, you can't cross them, and there's a way you have to, a way to allocate, a way to locate to how you place the blood pressure machine, right? Sometimes some of us fat like me and we want to use the little narrow things. We can't use the narrow ones. You have little ones for children, you have bigger ones for people with bigger arms, okay? And there's a way you put it. So the other thing is that we can in the digital age, right? And using a digital blood pressure machine is probably a good thing to do. I don't know. I don't have a lot of information about the wrist one, but I would think that using one on your forearm is a better one. You have to place the card, and the box tells you. So there's a brand called Omron, okay, which is what the World Health Organization recommends. There are others that work as well, but you're asking what is the best. This is what is recommended by World, and Omron is up to like Omron 10 now, okay. That's what most of the that's what the hospital uses. That's what, well, as far as I know, that's what a lot of the health centers use. OMRON. This is not an advertisement for Omron. I'm just telling you what has been recommended by the World Health Organization for checking our blood pressures.
Okay.
And check it, figure out what am I doing now, what am I not doing now, what did I eat, what didn't I eat, have I been eating a lot of salty foods? All of those things you have to take into consideration when you're doing your blood pressure. Okay? Good. And I'm glad you're monitoring. Very good.
Yeah,
encourage your girlfriends to do that.
I'm monitoring, but I'm getting so much of different things that I don't know.
No, but your blood pressure, but guess what? Your blood pressure is going to change according to activity, according to the time of the day. What you want it to be is it's within that normal range. Okay?
Yeah.
You don't want the difference between the top and the bottom one must not be less than 20. All right?
No, 120.
No, it must, the difference. So if I have,
20,
there mustn't be a difference of less than 20 between the two readings.
Oh, yeah.
All right? So once you're within the normal reading, you're good. And, people talk about having low blood pressure. Maybe this is a good time to talk about it. Low blood pressure is a symptomatic illness. So if you have low blood pressure, you actually feel sick. So if you measure your blood pressure and it's 110/60 and you can walk around and do all that you have to do, you don't have to worry. Okay?
Okay.
If you feel a little lightheaded, have something to drink. Have a glass of water. Have a glass of juice that's not too sweet. Fill back your volume. Maybe a little dehydrated.
Okay. Thank you very much, caller.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a good year.
Yes. Okay, let's take our final commercial break. When we come back, we'll take some more calls before we wrap for this evening. So stay with us. We'll be back with you in just a moment.
Get money where you are, almost anywhere you are, send money over with Western Union.
Pharmacy offers both wholesale and retail pharmaceutical and over-the-counter products. We have the most competitive and affordable prices. We are the agents for Vit Plus multivitamin for healthy everyday lifestyle and Synatogen powder. Hills and Valley Pharmacy supplies the best quality, name brand clinical products such as Rescue Oil, Bio Oil, Neutrogena, Aveeno, and Clarisil. We offer the most convenient opening hours. Our telephone numbers are 435-6904 or 6903. Remember, at Hills and Valley Pharmacy, your health is our business. We care.
Now open, Hills & Valley Medicare Center, your one-stop for medical supplies, massage therapy, physiotherapy, and an in-house physician. At Hills & Valley, your health is our business.
Pete is a perfectionist and a profound performer who perseveres proudly, procuring a promotion per annum. Meanwhile, Freddie frustratedly fumbles to figure out his own formula for fulfillment. Pete preserves his prime physical condition by picking at perfect produce, perfecting posture while pumping ponderous poundages, pursuing personal peace, and prudently purchasing prime sleeping apparatus. Your best day starts tonight with a Sleep-On-It mattress from Quartz.
You're already ill and have no time or energy to walk every which way to access your healthcare needs. So come to Spice Isle Imaging on the Carenage for a one-spot stop for all your health service needs. See our in-house doctor and get your meds from the pharmacy right on location. Digital X-ray, MRI, CT scans, mammography, ultrasound, and laboratory services are also available. So for that moment when life makes demands on you, you can make demands on us. Visit us at Spice Isle Imaging, Carenage, St. George's.
EC Polymer Notes, our new money.
Here's how you can detect genuine EC polymer notes. Feel. Polymer notes feel smoother than the material from which paper notes are made. Also, the front of each note has raised bumps at the top left-hand corner. These bumps form shapes that are familiar to you. Look for the clear window at the front and back of each note. This window allows you to see through the notes. If you hold the notes up to the light, you'll see the value of the note in an area of plain colored print. Tilt. A holographic foil is on the $100, $50, and $20. The images move and their colors change when you tilt the notes. Remember, detecting genuine EC polymer notes is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Feel, look, and tilt.
EC Polymer Notes. Cleaner, safer, stronger.
Classic FM.
Welcome back, folks. It's Doctor and Call. It is 22 minutes under the hour of 10 o'clock. Doc, time is going by so quickly, and we have a few things
we probably having fun.
Yeah. Yes. Well, we want to get off on the right foot, so we have to ensure.
And there are lots of foots, I tell you.
There's a lot, yeah. There's a lot of them. So there are a couple of things that we want to get through quickly. The importance of physical activity.
Must be a part of your daily life.
All right.
There's a thing called the 5:30 law. 5:30 in the morning or 5:30 in the evening, so you can't say. There are a lot of reasons why we wouldn't do this, but we'll come back and talk about this another time.
Sure.
5:30 in the morning, 5:30 in the evening, 5 days a week for 30 minutes.
Right.
So that's a 5:30 rule. 5:30 in the morning or 5:30 in the evening, you do 30 minutes of exercise. Just do what you never used to do. Start somewhere. Even if it means you walk, you just sweep the yard, just get accustomed, and then you move up from there, right? We have to do this. We hope this year to encourage our entire population to become very active. There's a thing called Caribbean Moves, and Grenada will join that movement as part of that thrust controlling chronic diseases. And we can collaborating with all our partners in the community. I mean, football, cricket.
Yes.
They're unorthodox, and like not everybody swims, not everybody does Tai Chi, not everybody does martial arts, not everybody does dance, but we're encouraging people, do what you can where you are. And you don't necessarily have to go and, like I said, get the expensive gym equipment and stuff. If you can afford tennis, fine. If you can afford getting a personal trainer, fine. But everybody must start moving as much as you can. And that's everybody, people who are disabled, whatever you can. You must do more than you're doing currently,
yes.
Right? And this is about all age groups. So getting our children back outside playing and running up and down and making noise and singing songs and breathing. And you remember when you used to play those crazy games? How you laugh and you breathe and you're happy? That's going to take away the stress from our children, because they do have a lot of stress, right? And you breathe and all the rest of it. So that's one of the things, just getting physically active, everybody. So every activity in this country that lasts for half hour should be part of that national thrust. You see, we're moving, we're Grenadians, and we're active, we're all there getting our act together and keeping Grenada healthy. One of the other things that we tend to forget is our spiritual and mental space. Mental illness for us is very real. Very real.
Yes,
there's some of us who have simple things like depression. 10% of us in this life are going to have depression, okay? And there's nothing wrong with it. What's wrong is when we don't know how to cope with it, or when we identify it in somebody else and we don't stretch a hand. We don't want anybody going home too early because they're depressed. We all our brothers keepers, whether or not, and our sisters, whether or not we like it. Depression is real. People have a lot of situations. There's situational depression where, things are bothering you and you become withdrawn and you feel sad and you don't sleep and you don't feel like eating, you don't feel to do the things that normally give you fun and all the rest of it. But then there's the depression that people have, that they're born with the potential for having depression, and without having any obvious precipitator, they'll get depressed. Guess what? Medication helps, okay, guys? It does. And there's nothing wrong with saying, I really feel depressed. I know men in particular. Trust me, if you want to talk, come talk to me. I would listen and I will help you. I promise you that much. Don't be afraid. I'm there if you really feel that you're up against situations that you can't cope with. And sometimes death comes, right? Don't let it come and overtake you. I would listen to you. And there are people. Talk to somebody, right? Please get into the right spiritual space. I'm not telling anybody to join church or to leave their church and join the next one. What I'm saying, get into a point of centering yourself spiritually in the morning. It gives you the way to start the day, right? Get into a place where you and whatever force you think, God, Allah, Jehovah, whoever you want to call him, right? You and your inner being, you and the universe, just get there, because we need that balancing off of that deep, profound space in ourselves that sometimes we're afraid to touch. Okay, just get there. Do it daily. Start learning. Sometimes it's not as easy for everybody. And sometimes, even those of us who pray and have a belief system, we get out there and we pray and we load it, but we don't get to listen to God. Listen, because when you try to have a conversation, it goes both ways, you and me. And so if God is there, when you read and you ask God for something, you pray. We ask God for things every day, right? Because I asked him for something this morning, and I kind of expected the rest as I finished talk. But I do need to listen to him, and sometimes he says, "No, Sonia, that's." And you walk down the road and you see somebody have the same thing and it broken down. You understand? Or they have the same thing and it doesn't work for them. So listen to God, right? And get that space. We talk about peace. It has to start in here. All the things that happen out in the world out there is because we are not at peace with ourselves first. Okay? We have so much stress, like I was telling Godfrey. We have so many things between hurricane, the threat of tsunami as a result of earthquakes, and Donald Trump, that we need to get into that space where we're at peace, right? Because they will create things, or they will create problems for us. Will create a sense of stress and a sense of fear and sense of insecurity for all of us. We have financial woes and things. Gather yourself together. Find somebody to deal with it if you can't make it alone. And screening for disease. We started talking about people who already have disease. If you don't know, go looking for it and making sure it's not there. And if it's there, fix it. Screen for hypertension. Check your pressure. Check your urine to make sure you're not spilling sugar. Go get a blood test. It's easy these days. We go on finger stick, right? Get your shot. Give yourself a happy birthday every year. When your birthday comes, or before, like the year start, get on that foot. Go get yourself screened. Check your blood pressure, your sugar, get your heart, get your tummy, get your men, check your prostate. Men, check your prostate. Trust me, after you've done it the first time, you become a convert. Check yourself. Okay, go and get screened, because screening is going to see what is there, if it's there, or to make sure it's not there. Okay, if you have a symptom, you go and look for it. You go and see what the symptom is all about. If there are no symptoms, make sure that those things are not there in the developmental stage. We know that if you go early, cancer is our number one killer still. That if you go early, that once you're diagnosed early, your chances of survival, and survival is being able to live 5 years and then take the next 5 years, right, are grossly increased. And I can tell everybody, I know women who've been living with breast cancer for 25 years simply because they got screened early and they figured out it was there. Let's give ourselves a chance to be standing on our foot. Diabetics, take care of those foot so you can have 2 foot at the end of the year, right? One of the other things that's going to happen this year as well, we're supposed to be doing a risk factor screens for adults. So we're looking for the risks. Are you hypertensive? Are you diabetic? Do you drink? Do you smoke? Are you active? Are you eating healthy?
Promiscuous behaviors.
Well, yeah, sexual behavior is very important as well. But our risk factors doesn't take into consideration sexual. We're not looking at sexual health, but that is very important, especially among a young population, because HIV and AIDS is still very prevalent. You can get tested for free. Most of the health fairs, you might find there's a testing for HIV, and you get your result immediately. We don't die from HIV. HIV is not a chronic disease. If you're diagnosed, there's medication and you're good. But that doesn't mean that you have to practice bad behaviors. Because also, when you consume alcohol, that's another thing. You put yourself at risk for diseases because we become disinhibited, we have sex with whoever and all the rest, and we get pregnant and we get other STDs, right? So we have seen a little rise in STDs. It means that we're not practicing responsible sexual behavior. But we're going to have a risk factor screen this year. adults 18 to 64. Not everybody. There's a cohort, there's a group that's going to be chosen from everyone, male and female, between here, Carriacou and Petit Martinique, almost 3,000 people.
Okay.
I'm going to ask people that when it comes to your door, please, help us out here.
Yeah, cooperate.
Right, we're gonna ask you questions, we're gonna check your weight and your height and measurements and stuff, and then we're gonna do a finger stick to see what your blood sugar and your cholesterol is like, and probably ask you for some urine. What that will do is to tell us what kind of risks we have in our community. So whoever participates in this risk factor study will actually make it is very important in us making decisions for the rest of the whole 110,000 of us. So I'm going to ask you guys to cooperate with us.
Oh yes, indeed. This is something that we need to keep talking about.
Yes.
Let's go back to a telephone.
Yes.
Doctor and call. Good evening. Hello.
Yes. Good evening. Hello.
Yes. Good evening. Caller.
Good evening.
Hi.
Doctor.
Yes, sir.
I want to get on a good foot here with you tonight.
Wonderful.
That's nice. That's good news.
Yeah. For the longest while we've been hearing about health center and Medicare and all them kind of thing and them things. So, and we're hearing very recently about the amount of earthquake and XYZ what happening all around us. And we expecting great ones. It has been predicted, and these earthquakes will cause great tsunami. And I hear nobody saying nothing about that, because what I realize is that PAHO, World Health Organization, say that our hospital, the only hospital as far as I'm concerned in the country, is in the sea. So I want to know what measures have been put in place, or how we're looking at it. When these tsunami arise at us, where we pass in to go in the hospital, and how we come right from the hospital, how we get to and from these patients.
You see, we don't have control over that, over what happens. What we know is how to mitigate the disaster.
Yeah, what I'm really trying to say is the hospital weight it wasn't supposed to be D. PAHO say it's not supposed to be D. The previous government had allocated areas to put a new hospital. And this one, the government will come in, instead of putting it where had been allocated for it, and I'm getting it prepared. The bill is more.
Yeah, but
on top of this.
Yeah, and
when the tsunami come and we get one, where we going? Where do we them? I mean, this is good for the to get on.
Well, I understand what you're saying. So that's a thing for policy that we don't have control over. But I'll tell you what, I know that we're moving to Carriacou, Princess Alice. At least those look, we're little islands. If you have a tsunami, you just have a tsunami, and hope that we don't have a big tsunami that washes us. But here, if we do have a disaster, because hurricanes are more likely to happen than having a tsunami, right? We expect that the structures the plans that have been put in place, and how the hospital, and how the hospital and the health centers, some of the health centers are being constructed, that once there's a disaster, they can withstand. So people still have a place to be seen. We're hoping that disasters don't reach us to a point where all of us dead.
Because, we don't have any control over disasters.
We don't have any control.
The caller is talking about tsunamis. What if not quick strikes?
You don't have any choice.
The location of the hospital really wouldn't make a difference,
Yeah, and I understand what he says about the hospital is now, access up into the hospital. There are challenges, but we're trying to make it as safe and as, well, for want of a better word, disaster friendly. Right? We have what we call smart hospitals, and we're going towards that, so that our services will be smart enough so that people can have where to go after there's been a disaster. So I hope that helps us. The truth is, I don't have control. None of us here has control over the policies and the decisions that have been taken by the government. The other thing is that a hospital is a big structure. It's not like you're going to take a tent in the desert and move it to another place.
Definitely.
So I understand. So the most you can do is to put it in a situation where it should be resilient, right, to whatever level of disaster may happen. And, in Chile, right? On the edge of the circle, on a circle of fire. They have hurricanes. They have earthquakes,
yes.
right? They have 9.9 and buildings standing. People just know that when a 9.9 earthquake strikes, they said tsunami challenge. You go to the point. And we've had disaster preparedness events in Sauters, in Grenville, for tsunamis. People just need to be aware that these things happening. And they tell us, we live in a disaster zone, okay? And I can ask people, do you have a bag with clothes that you can take and leave your house? Do you have a bag of food? Do you have all of your papers in one place? So if something, let's say there's a hurricane and you have to move, right? Do you know where your medications are? Do you know where your phone charger is? Do you know your phone is in the middle of the night? So, those are ways of being prepared. They tell us in disaster season, and disaster season is every day for us, you keep clothing and food for 3 days in a place so you can move out of your house if something happens, if something happens in your house. Those are the things you have to get accustomed to. We have to get prepared. And like I tell you, the Chileans will have the worst earthquakes and there's no death. Right?
Let's go back to the telephone. Doctor and call, good evening.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
Happy New Year for everybody.
Thank you.
Now, back to the days gone by when people used to live in the past, simple and ordinary and work hard. The days gone by and eat good food. But now people have the money in the pocket now, they spend and buy what they want, to eat what they want, and they feel that the best of their life is, they want to eat the yam and potato and blow and feel and breakfast again, and they tidy that. They don't want that. They want macaroni pie and spaghetti and chicken, and they say like food. When you eat all kind of thing and you get sick, you blame the government for it, blame people for it. You have to take care of yourself.
Responsible.
Don't walk much, first thing. You drink less water, drink more alcohol, more beers than water. They drink more juice than water. They eat food, they drink together, eating at the same time, hot and cold at the same time. They eating bread, they drinking tea at the same time, and the bread and the servant getting work to the tea, getting work to do. So that's people doing wrong, how they eat and how they drink and how they get on with their life and thing. Now your body make up in a way that you have to exercise the body to feel good. But you have to exercise to burn out what you're eating. If you're eating junk food, you have to burn it out. You have to burn it out every day, do daily walking. Walking is one of the best exercise for mankind. But people do more walking. People do more driving, and they want to be healthy.
So you're basically saying that our lifestyle is killing us.
Less than killing people.
Right.
Work for more money than people in the past, and they had their own money, but they don't want eat what they want. You can tell them about eating what they want these days, do what they want.
Yeah.
It's a hype what drinking, and they won't serve and get them pressure and all that.
So the point you're making is one of what we call urbanization. People live in bigger cities, they live in town, they don't live this kind of rural life. We don't eat the traditional foods we used to do, we don't do the things we used to do.
In the past years gone by, you say nasty now. But if you when they were small and give them strength and energy, they don't want to do it now. They don't fall again, but they more, they might fall on fire, which is more dead than what they're eating.
All right, so thank you, sir. And I hope you're speaking with the men in your community because you obviously have a lot to share. The bottom line is that our lifestyles have changed. We got to get back on all our good foot. Okay, there are lots of things. We still have small space. We still have a lot of space to enjoy. The truth is, I wish we'd have more sidewalks so people can walk and be safe and all the rest of it. But go walk on the beach. I tell women, you want to pray, walk around the church and say your prayers. You're doing the rosary, whatever prayer. You have prayer group. We go and we sit down. Everything we sit down. We sit. Right? We have to get up and get out there. Go for a little walk together. Form walking clubs in your church. In your the women's union, the women's group. The seniors, take a little walk around the nursing home, get active. Children, play games, have like a football competition, netball competition, whatever it is, rounders, I don't care what it is. We need to above all, we need to get creative. You don't have to spend money, you just need to get creative and get out there and enjoy. Grenada is still a wonderful, beautiful, and above all, I'll tell you, Grenada is still the safest place in the Caribbean. Let's enjoy this. Let's make sure that we can live the way we want to live and we can live long. Okay? The other thing is that, we're talking about having national health insurance. It's very important because people have to have ways of taking care of themselves, the health, right, without getting poor. That is what universal health is all about. But are we going to make ourselves so ill that we can't sustain a universal health care system, right? We should have a system where, at primary level, where there's prevention. would you allow your 8 to 11-year-old, your 9 to 11-year-old child girl be vaccinated against hepatitis B, against human papillomavirus? We know that 100% of cancer of the cervix is caused by human papillomavirus, which women get by sexual contact. The Australians are not going to have cervical cancer in 30 years, by 2030, because their girls and the girls who have been vaccinated will be women, right? And their program continues, so they would have eradicated cancer of the cervix. We give our children hepatitis B at birth. It prevents us from getting hepatitis, but it also prevents us from getting cancer of the liver, some forms of cancer of the liver. So there are other things to do. Get your vaccines. We've had measles. Why are we having measles in 2019 and 2020 when I can take up my phone and talk to you and watch you in Siberia in real time? Why are we being so backward to things that have already saved our lives? Get back on the good foot. Tell your children in the States, do not send their children to Grenada if they haven't had their shots. Okay? We need to get back. Parents here need to get and make sure children have their vaccines. We're not getting measles and put our children at risk for brain disease and for pneumonias. And I asked them, do you remember older people talking about how their 3 sisters died before they were 5 years old? That is because they had diseases that were vaccine preventable, except that there was no vaccine. So getting back on a good foot is getting to the time, moving up to the time, right? Look at the fast cars. We have cars that can do 200 miles an hour. We don't have roads, but guess what? No, but this one. Those are things.
It is important.
We are so advanced scientifically. We just need to get back to a space of simplicity, right? And a space of ease, to be happy, to be back in good health, right? And we can do it. Start walking back. Stop smoking. Our young people have taken on this habit of smoking tobacco again. Give me a break, guys. Tobacco kills 50% of its users. Tobacco kills 50% of its users. Whether they die from cancers, which is one of the biggest things, or you die from heart problems, or respiratory diabetes, respiratory problems, tobacco is going to kill you or make you sick. You mightn't die, but it will make you sick. So, those are the things we can eliminate, right? We have all the environmental toxins that we don't have control over, and hopefully we can get control over it. You understand? But let's avoid the things that we know we have power over. The alcohol, the sweet drinks, the salt, the inactive lifestyle, right? The cholesterol foods, all those trans fatty acids that's sold cheap in the supermarket. If you buy a product and it says 4 grams or whatever of trans fat, you leave it. Right? You pick up and you read your package. Get accustomed to reading the back of your package. If it says trans fats, because they're going to dump it. What they're doing is dumping it because there are countries where they cannot sell them because the only products you can sell has to have 0 grams trans fats. So all the cheap butters or margarines and stuff, read them. They're going to clog up our arteries and kill us. Okay? So this is the time to get on your foot. All the foot them, right? And take control of our lives. This is 2020. We're going to keep our vision totally clear. We're going to get together as a nation and be the best nation we can be.
Doc, I want to thank you so much. I can't say anything else. There's nothing else I can say. Other than, folks, let us get started on a good foot. I am going to be making all efforts to get on my good foot. And I want to encourage you to do the same. So I want to thank you very much for staying with us. Doc, thank you so much for being here.
Nice
first program, and I'm looking forward to having you again.
I guess.
As a matter of fact, some of the areas that we touched tonight, briefly, I would like us to get into some more details. In depth.
We'll get together and focus on this, on keeping our nation well, because I think we have a responsibility to do.
We do. So, folks, thank you once again. Don't forget, you can join me tomorrow evening. We've got our first release program, and we have a lot to release, so please join me for that. All right? Until then, do have yourself a good evening and get a good night's sleep. 7 hours, get a good night's sleep so your brain can,
That's 7 hours of big people, okay?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to just start all over again. So, folks, I'm just going to say good night to you. Thank you, and I'll be back with you tomorrow, please God.
Good night,
Until
everybody.
then,
Happy
take good
2020.
care. Yes, indeed. All the best.